I want to talk about a subject which is called fears, pchudim. Nowadays we're living in a generation where so much bad news has come in the last year and a half, 2 years. Unbelievable things that are happening. What it's creating a lot of chaos and trauma in people. And people start becoming more and more worried and have fears, consciously and subconscious fears about different things. Health, going out in the street, going on planes. So many things happened. Going to public places, going to Rebbe's Tish, onto the Parentjes. So I'm thinking to myself, I think it's very important to share with people, to understand, to put things into perspective, and ultimately to teach it to our children and how to give over all these stories and how to deal with it. I think we see elder people, the older a person gets, the more and more fears they have. They fear when little children come to the house. They watch the kid shouldn't fall. Watch the kid's knife. Watch the kid shouldn't hold a knife. Watch the kid. Because the older we get, the more and more stories we heard about traumatic events. Life, unfortunately, is a lot of, old people go to the street. They tell little kids, watch. They have a pachet to cross the street. Because at a certain age, you've heard so many more stories about car accidents and people dying than when you're younger. So your brain puts together so many stories, it makes a pachet, a fear out of it. But really, it's not a good way to live like that. Because life is life. Yes, we have to be cautious. But we can't live like that. We can't live in fear. If we become aware of it, and we say, you know what? I'm already 60 years old, 70 years old. I have taka heard. I have a worry about children crossing the streets. I heard so many accidents, taka. But how many children crossed the street in my whole lifetime and nothing happened to them? You're going to put together the percentage, the statistics. You're going to find out it's not even 0.1% of kids crossing streets that get killed. Because every single day, 10-year-old kids cross the street. So you are putting together the 5 or 10 scenarios that you heard in your lifetime of a 10-year-old crossing the street and something happened to them. So if you become aware of it and you're conscious about it and you tell yourself, 1 minute, why do I have this fear? Is it taka dangerous? Yeah, if you could be cautious, why not? But don't become phobic. I think that this year was a cluster, a bundle of very, very traumatic events happened. And it takes time for our brain to process all of this. From the beginning of COVID, from even before COVID, when there was the stabbings in the Yiddish neighborhoods, shootings all around America, the rise of anti-Semitism in America, and everything that followed, unfortunately, we all know. We didn't have enough time to process this year. We didn't have enough time to make sense and to file it correctly. And if we are not aware that our subconscious is overworking, a lot of fears have been created in people, in ourselves, and people around us. I think that fear in general is a very good thing. If we would have no fear, we would do very risky things. I'm now in Etzisrul in Yerushalayim over here. I know that when you drive your car, you don't want to drive into the wrong neighborhood. If you don't have fear, some people that don't have fear end up doing very wild and crazy things and dangerous things. So fear is a good thing. So we need to thank Hashem for giving us fear. We need to celebrate fear, pachad. But we need to know that pachad could be very limiting. It could limit us. Pachad could tie our hands. People have fear to go into business, to do things, to face people. People have fear to do sales. They have fear to get a no. So fear, just like anything else, is a very good thing, but it can be very, very destructive if it's overused. So going through a year like this of so many trauma, so many tragic events, we need to be aware of it and think to ourselves, is there anything that I could be cautious about in the future without becoming overcautious, without having fears? So fear ultimately is a protector. We have protectors in our brain that protect us from danger. We have a fear of rejection. A fear of rejection is a good thing. So like this, you're more cautious when you go into a relationship with someone. And you're cautious to see, is this a toxic relationship where I'm going to be hurt down the road? So you don't let yourself build a relationship with that person. So fear is a good thing. But if a person went through 2 or 3 betrayals in relationships, they get a fear in their brain. Their protector becomes overprotective and doesn't let you connect and have any relationships with no one, even healthy relationships. And that's very limiting. It limits you from getting anywhere. So just like we said before, that older people have a lot of fears because they heard so many stories of children, accidents, or all kinds of stuff in life. All of us had many failures in our lives. We had many destructive relationships. We've been betrayed, hurt. We've tried businesses that didn't work out. We've tried relationships. We tried diets, it didn't work. Everything that we tried a few times, we stop. We become numb. Why? Our protector in our brain has a fear to let us continue and try again. So this is the place where the protector is actually not protecting you, it's hurting you. If you could see a 70-year-old person open up a brand new business, go into a new venture in life, move to a new neighborhood, that person should be a role model. That person should be like, wow. Most people, the older they get, they become more fixed. They're fixed like a piece of stone. You can't move them. When we're young, when we're born, we are flexy. We're like a piece of silicon. You could bend it, pull it, but you can't tear it. Very flexible. What makes it stiff and stiff and stiff and stiff and become fixed like a block? All these fears and all these rejections and all these bechudim that all of us go through. If we're not aware of it, we become fixed people. We become stuck. So the way to get rid of bechudim is to first know that there's such a thing. First you thank Hashem that you have pachad. Pachad is a very good thing. It's protecting you. And say, 1 minute, are you protecting me now? Or are you overprotecting me? Overprotective is dangerous. Overprotective, nothing doing. You become fixed, you become stuck, you become old. You're like a dead person walking around. If you're not able to, if you lose your excitement to go and see new things in your life, start new things in your life, move forward, change, become a different person, whatever it takes. You're stuck. You're fixed, you're blocked. You're tied. Someone once told me, Reb Nachman Breslev said that he doesn't like old people. So someone asked Reb Nachman, what do you mean you don't like old people? He said, yeah, a lot of old people are very young at age. A lot of young people are 90 years old. I think he meant to say that young is flexy, silicon. Old is a hard brick that cannot change. In the Torah, in the Gemara, we celebrate people that are able to move on, change, advance in life, flexible, constantly learn new things. So if we look very deep into ourselves and they say, what is limiting me? What's keeping me back? I have a fear of what? I have a fear to make this phone call for my company. So you ask yourself, why do I have this fear? Is this fear protecting me or overprotecting me? In other words, destroying me. It's protecting me of what? I have a fear of what? If someone is going to tell me no, I'm trying to sell a product, the person says no. And you ask yourself, and what happens if he says no? So you might tell yourself, if he tells me no, I'm going to feel rejected and say, what's bad of feeling rejected? I'm going to feel worthless. You could ask yourself, why should this make you feel worthless? And at that moment, you're not going to have any problem. You're just going to be able to pick up the phone and make that phone call. We are sometimes so scared to go into the next level. I once heard a great line. The fear of a fear is worse than the fear itself. If you fear something, the fear of that, you have fear something that might bring a fear, could give you much more anxiety and pachet and limit you much more than whatever could actually happen. So, Hashem programmed our system that we have two drives, many drives, but we're going to talk about two drives. One drive is ahava, and one drive is gevura. Gevura is pachat. Avruam had midas ahavas Hashem. Yitzchak had pachat Yitzchak. He had fear. We need to have both. So our drive in our life, when we are born, when we're young, is we're running after ahava, we're running after desires, tanigim. This is all under the love and connection and desire of tanig, is ahava. A child wants to grow and become and learn how to walk, learn how to build Lego, constantly exploring, exciting, to do new things. So the drive is running towards pleasure. As we get older, we have many betrayals and hurts, and things didn't work out. We start fearing. Pachad wakes up and says, you know what, don't go that way, you're going to get hurt. But it's a good thing, because sometimes we need to be protected. Too much ahava without pachad, without gevura, we're going to fall apart. But the problem is, as we get older, much more pachad comes in, and much less ahava. So we wake up in the morning, we go to work. When we're young, because we want to chapra, we want to be a millionaire, we want to kanak, Our drive is not because we're running away from pain. We don't have bills. We don't have big bills to pay it when we're young. But as we get older, our desire to run towards ahava, towards pleasure, diminishes, because pachad goes up, because we tried so many deals and it didn't work out. So I think that this is one of the greatest ideas to understand, is that we have to focus on realizing the awareness of it. The awareness itself is something that's going to cure it. I say, 1 minute, am I being protected? I'm being overprotected. And many things in our life, we hear different problems. People are, are overcautious sometimes, overprotective. It's not a good idea. You have to be balanced. We have to have our drive should be ahava. If you could be 40 years old, 60 years old, or 70 years old, and go learn a new language, learn a new computer program, do something new, start a new venture, you're a young person. If you're young and you're blocked, you're limited, and you always have excuses, I can't do it because it's good. Excuses come from fear, from unhealthy fear. I get in talk. That's it for now.